Hello, my name's Ian Fennell. I'm a solution architect with Matillion. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to set up and use the Subversion source code control system with Matillion ETL for Snowflake. Let's get started. Starting off in my instance of Matillion ETL for Snowflake here. Now, Matillion uses JSON as the metadata file exchange format. So when you save or restore a job to and from its backup, then it will be in the form of a JSON file. I'll open an example job just for demonstration. Now, there's two different ways of getting hold of the metadata for integration with source code control. You can do export and import from the menu here, or you can use the REST API. And it's those two logical methods that we'll be focusing on in this video. I'm not going to look in this video at the manage backups, which is down here in the project menu. To take a backup of Matillion's job metadata from the user interface, there's actually two different ways of doing that. First of all, you can right-click on a job that you want to save, and it will bring up the interface here, and it's already ticked the one where you right-clicked. Or the second way, if maybe you've been working on lots of things throughout the day, you want to save them all, go to Project, choose Export, and then you can go through the list here and tick all of the ones that you want to include in the backup. Choose a file name and press OK, and choose the save option, and that will download that and save the JSON file onto your local workstation. In order to use the REST API, you'll need to have an appropriately privileged user, and I'm going to just check that now by going to the admin menu and the user configuration screen. I'm going to use the API user, and it does have a tick in the API box here. In order to demonstrate the REST API, I've gone out to the operating system shell here, and I'm going to issue a curl command. So curl is just a convenient way to invoke the REST API. So there's quite a few arguments on the command line here. I've got the -o to specify the target file name, a -k to turn off warnings about SSL certificates, a -x to specify the HTTP operation, which is a GET in this case, the -u to set my username and password, the -h is a required HTTP header. Here's the address of my Matillion server, and we're going to be using the REST endpoints here. And I also need to put as arguments the group name, the project name, and the version name that we want to export. Notice that I've changed spaces in the names for %20 signs. So let's run that. It'll go away across the network and bring that data back, and it's queried and it's brought back about a megabyte of data into the JSON file. Let's have a look then at the files which have been created in this directory. We have the selected jobs.json, which was the small export of a couple of chosen jobs, and that's about 60K in size. And then we have the much larger full backup.json, which is about a megabyte in size, because that contains all the files in my project. So I'm going to be using the SVN command line to interface with Apache Subversion here, but there are graphical interfaces like Tortoise SVN which do exactly the same thing. From the command line, to get the status of the files, I'll do an SVN status, which tells me that those two files have been modified. I'm going to add the first one, the full backup.json, to start with. And then I'll add the selected jobs.json as well. So now they've been added up into Subversion, but they have not been committed yet. So I'll execute the SVN commit command to add those in, and now that's been saved up to Subversion. So switching roles then, if I was now wanting to get those files out of Subversion and onto my local file system in order to add them perhaps as a restore into Matillion or perhaps into a new instance, I would use the reverse of those commands, which is the svnco command. Back to the web user interface, now that we've seen how to get Matillion's job definitions in and out of source code control as JSON files, if I was to accidentally delete these two jobs, or if I was trying to restore those into another instance of Matillion, I would just need to go to the import menu this time, browse for the file which I called selectedjobs.json, and then tick all of the ones that I want to import, press OK, and now those are safely restored back into my instance of Matillion here. It's very much the same story with the full project backup file that we created earlier using the REST API. Once you've retrieved that JSON file back from source code control, there's another curl command that you can use to restore this back into a Matillion instance. It's pretty similar to before, the main differences being that this time it's a -x post since we're pushing data back into Matillion. The endpoint is just projects this time, and the data that we're pushing back in the post command is the content of that full backup.json file. So let's run that now. This one actually failed because, in fact, there's already a project called that under the group, and it will refuse to overwrite the project if it already exists. In order to be able to demonstrate the curl import, I'm just going to go back to manage my project here and just rename that. Having renamed the project, I'm going to retry that curl command now. And this time it has restored the JSON file which I've taken from source code control, and it's brought that back into Matillion. I hope you found that demonstration of using Subversion with Matillion ETL for Snowflake useful. For more information, visit us at matillion.com, where you can start a 14-day free trial at any time from the AWS Marketplace.